Welcome back. And this video is all about your stance. When you're standing in front of your opponent, how you're postured, how your weight is distributed in your legs, and where your head and your core is in relation to those legs is ultra important. It determines how well you're able to move in reaction to the opponent's offense, and it also tells you how you're able to move. It determines how well you're able to move within your own offense. So your stance determines both your defensive and your offensive capabilities. Now in your stance, you want to be in a position where you're ready to move in any direction at all times. And you want to stay that way. You want to stay ready to move. Right? So when you throw your punches and you're here, you want to stay in your stance. You want to keep your spine relatively still and relatively upright. Okay? You don't want to be throwing yourself out of balance and out of whack. You're going side to side. A lot of people throw punches here like this, or they bring their head forward in that way. This is something we need to focus on when we're punching, when we're standing, we're doing anything here. We have to make sure that we're keeping balanced and that our weight is evenly distributed. So I can move in any direction. I can go forward, backwards, side to side, under, up and down, right? We can move in all 6 directions, up, down, left, right, forward, backwards. Okay? We also want to stand in a way that's going to help us save energy. Okay, if I stand like this, like a lot of people do, butt back, put strain on my back. Okay, shoulders up, put strain on my shoulders. I'm going to run out of energy. I'm going to be less efficient. I'm going to be less powerful. So stand in a way that helps you relax, but also keeps you ready to move. Okay? Then also in our stance, we're constantly rolling. We're constantly moving back and forth here, this way. All right? And the reason for that is that it enables you to start your movement more easily. When somebody attacks, you're able to roll into it. You're already moving. An already moving target is easier to move in any direction. Okay. Now, when you're rolling here, notice in my stance, I'm always turning side to side, and I'm always making this core movement back and forth. Even if it's subtle here, I'm turning, I'm moving this way in my stance. I'm ready to move. Okay. When somebody comes in and attacks me, I'm ready to move my feet, I'm ready to move my head, I'm ready to move my shoulders, okay? So, in your stance, always moving, always creating these waves. Notice how I'm turning, I roll this direction, I come here, my hands turn, everything here. I'm always in this stance, but I'm making little rolling movements back and forth so that I can roll into my next punch, or I can move into my head movement, or I can roll here into my footwork. Okay? Now, some of the mistakes people make in their stance is that they're not grounded enough. Or they have one foot that's really well grounded and the other foot that's not grounded. This is unbalanced, this is uneven. I'm not able to move as well there. Okay? So you're shifting their weight off center, or when they come into their stance, they're kind of up on their toes, and then they go to do their punches, and they're punching and they're jumping up, right? Stay grounded, keep your head level down. Keep your hips and legs connected to the ground. Okay? You want to feel that in your legs. You want to feel the connection. All right? And then here, I'm able to make these shifts in my hip. Right? When I'm in my stance and these little shifts happen in my hips, here these big shifts happen in my shoulders, and then my arm extends all the way. Okay? So also another problem with the stance is that people are too tense in their stance. You need to relax. Okay? I've already gone over that. The next thing is their stance leaves them unprotected. Right? So you want to be able to move, you want to be able to relax, and you want to be able to stay protected. Okay? Stance like this, unprotected, head forward, imbalanced. You want too much weight on your front leg, butt back, hands down. Not good. Alright, so getting into your stance. Here we go. I'm in my stance here. I take a step out, so I'm a little wider than shoulder width. The reason I want to be a little wider than shoulder width is so that I can move side to side easily. Okay? Now I want this foot back about one whole step backwards. Point your foot out to the side and be here, right? Now we don't want a too narrow stance because that inhibits our ability to move side to side. And we don't want a stance that's too wide because that inhibits my ability to move forward and backwards. So we want to be able to move forward and backwards by having one foot placed in front. Now I'm going to have a little bit more weight on my front foot because I'm more concerned with being able to move backwards and to get out of danger rather than I am concerned about moving myself toward danger, toward the opponent. Okay, so that being said, it's more important that you stay protected. It's more important that you keep your hands up. It's more important that you stay out of the opponent's reach than it is that you're able to jump into the opponent's reach. That makes sense. So here is my stance. I have 60% of my weight on the front foot, or maybe a little bit less, 40% on the back. Okay, I'm able to shift my weight. Look at the weight in my heels. Look at my heels. They're barely coming off the ground, and that's what's causing that rolling movement. Okay, watch my knees. My knees move a little bit too. Okay, I keep my weight nice and centered. Okay, I feel the weight. I can feel the ground through my hips and through my core. My elbows stay pointed at the opponent. My hands stay up. They never drop below my chin. Okay, here. They don't need to be up here too much. That's going to make it hard to move and punch. But just below the eyes, right here. Okay? Remember, I want to keep my arms forward. Okay? Even as I punch, I want to resist the temptation to bring my hand and elbows back. I want to think about my elbows pointed at the opponent, because as soon as my tricep fires, this is the direction that punch is going to go. I roll my shoulder, I turn my punch over. We'll get over into the punching mechanics, but your stance is important to realize how your punch is going to go and what makes your punch move, right? And so now here I want this hip a little bit more in front of the back foot. I want this elbow to stay tight and always in front of this hip so that it's able to launch. Keeping this elbow pointed, keeping these hands pointed. Okay, now I round my shoulders and I kind of hollow my chest, I hollow my insides here. That allows my hands to reach farther forward, but keeps my center of gravity farther back. Okay, very important. If you're here like this, you're going to burn a lot of energy. Your arms are out of place. Look at where my tricep are. My tricep is right here, my elbow. If your arms are like this is what happens with your punch. People do like this here. That's not what you want to do. You want to fire it like this here. Okay? Now, again, we're always being able to move our feet and our head as well. So in my stance here, as I'm rolling, I can take this step. I can take a step back, I can take a step forward, I can step left, I can step right, whatever I want. Here. Okay? Just like this. Notice how I can make little micro shifts from side to side. And that's because I'm in the center. The more that you stay in your center on your stance, the more that you can shift and change directions. Okay? It's not about how big your movements are, but it's how quick you can change direction. If I'm going like this and I'm in my stance and I'm changing direction once every second or so, that's gonna my opponent's gonna be able to key off of that, and I'm not gonna be able to move as well. When I'm in here and I make little micro movements here and I'm back and forth side to side this way, then I'm able to move better. Okay? When I'm able to change directions, okay, I'm able to integrate my shifts into my footwork. Right? So my hands, my feet, and my head always remain ready to move because my core stays in the center. When my core doesn't stay in the center of my feet and of my body, then my hands lose their ability to move. Right? When my core is here and there, I lose contact with one of my feet, and now I don't have as much ability to move my core. And I can't move my core, I can't move my head, I can't move my feet either. Okay, so again, remember, it's balance. It's about being grounded. One of the biggest mistakes that people make in their stance is they get to be too young or too male, right? They are here, they're up, and they're forward. This is the male direction, right? This is our female direction, down and back. So here, they come here, they get forward, they drop their hands, they get knocked out. They throw their punches, they come here, they come forward, they get knocked out. Okay, staying here and staying back. Notice how much my head isn't moving, okay? It's staying in place. I can move my hips a little bit here. My feet are still grounded. My spine stays in the middle. Okay? It doesn't matter what you're doing, whether or not you're punching, kicking, elbowing, you're here. You do not want to get out of your stance. You don't want to drop your hands. You don't want to get too close. Okay? Now, here's the activity. I want you all to get in your stance. Get in front of a mirror. Do yourself a favor. Take a picture of your stance, or better yet, take a video. You need to be able to see yourself and what it looks like. Take a picture, compare it side to side. How does your picture look next to mine? If it looks a little goofy and you need advice on how to fix your stance, you can send me a video, no problem. Or you can send me a picture and I'll give you technique points. If you don't want to see how you look, you kind of have to ask yourself, why don't I want to see what my stance looks like? All right, so now again, taking pictures and getting your stance, and then once you're in your stance, think about moving around a little bit, thinking about shifting side to side. Get in here and think about making this wave and rolling side to side and keeping those elbows pointed at the opponent and ready to move. Okay, remember again, good contact with the legs, keeping those hips rolled forward. We don't want to be here like this. Keep the rolls tucked under, the hips tucked under. Keep yourself sideways, keep your elbows pointed at your opponent, keep your hands up, and keep your shoulders relaxed. Okay? If you're feeling like you're getting prematurely tired, or you're fatiguing somewhere particular, your left leg is really more tired than your right. If your shoulders are getting burnt out and just being in your stance, you need to be in a position where you can relax better. Okay? If you're having trouble getting your movement started, or when you do move, when you throw your punches, you're shifting quite a bit off balance, then you need to start from a place of better balance. All right, guys, remember all those technique points. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me, and please feel free to send me video or pictures of you and your stance. Thank you.